Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of The Robe Which Binds Us, As-Sunnah waljama'aah. Last episode we talked about the methods of rejecting the Sunnah, which is the methods was followed by some individuals, some groups through the history of Islam. And we are talking about it to warn ourselves from falling in this trap, or to fall in this path to end up rejecting the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which no one would want to do. We said that some people attack the narrators and they concentrate on attacking the Sahaba radiallahu anhum by either claiming that they are not trustworthy or they are not even non-Muslims. So if you do that, basically you cannot trust the whole chain of narrators because it will all collapse, because it starts from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. And also we talk about a little bit about attacking the text. And we said that some people will say we accept the narration of the narrator, but when it comes to the narration itself, you will see that they will say, they will use sometimes their logic or their mind to judge the text. So whatever he will feel comfortable with, he will take. Whatever his mind will not understand or not accept, he will reject immediately. And some people said that we should refer all the ahadith to the logic, and whatever will be accepted logically, it will be approved, and whatever will be rejected by the logic, it will not be approved. The big question here, which logic are we talking about? Who can judge that? Okay, I might see something from one perspective and you see it from another perspective. When we say we refer all matter to be judged logically, I mean, the logic of people in America can sometimes be different from the logic of the people in Egypt, or in Syria, or in the people in Africa, and so on. The people 100 years ago, their methods, their way of thinking, or analyzing things, it's different from people in recent days, in some areas. And there is other areas which we call common sense between people all the time, everywhere. When we talk about referring the hadith to be judged by the logic, which logic are we talking about? That's the answer, that's the questions that I didn't know yet anybody was able to answer it. Unless we're talking about what we call common sense. Even the word common sense, which is sometimes can be the translation of معلوم بالضرورة أو من ضروريات العقل أو من بداءة العقول. Even these words are really not clear. You might say this is common sense. I might disagree with you. So that's why this is not the right way, the right mean to examine the hadith. To say, I judge the hadith by this. That's what was not accepted by ahlusunnah waljama'aah. And when people open this door, what happened? There is so many things change in the religion. There is people came up with very weird ideas. It contradict even the basic beliefs of Islam. That's why part of our belief that we respect the logic, that we use the logic, but we don't make the logic the judge over the textual evidence. And we'll talk about this issue more in details, inshallah, in near future. Okay, let's move to another way of attacking the text. Contradicting the textual evidence, I will skip the opinion now to go to the third one, the kashf. What I mean by the word kashf? Kashf claimed divine inspiration through dreams, visions, that a person will say, I got a divine inspiration in my dream or in my vision. And he will use this as a way to judge the textual evidence. That's why some people used to say, the people who follow the Sunnah take the religion from the dead, but we take our religion straight from the one who never dies, who never dies. أنتم تأخذون دينكم عن عبد الرزاق أو عن ميت عن ميت ونحن نأخذه عن الذي لا يموت أو عن الرزاق. This idea that they can take straight from God, and they will take that and they will use it as the source of their religion, and they might even reject the textual evidence based on a dream that so-and-so person saw last when he was sleeping, maybe in the night or afternoon, whatever time he was sleeping, and he saw that dream and he came up with certain ideas. Even if it's contradict what's in Sunnah, he will leave what is in the Sunnah for his dream or for his kashf. As for the third way of attacking the text based on, they will contradict the textual evidence and they will reject it based on in some people's opinions. And by the way, this is a new old, it's an old but it's still the same thing, new way, and it still exists even until today, to reject so many of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and even so many issues in the religion. It's a very old method. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described in the Quran how this method prevented so many people from benefiting from the message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or even to benefit from the messengers before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and when it said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, they say, nay, we follow what we found our fathers upon. What our fathers upon. They will leave the truth. They will not accept what the messengers and the prophets saying. They will not accept the narrations because of other people's opinions or cultures or custom. وكذلك ما أرسلنا من قبلك في قرية من نذير إلا قال مترفوها إنا وجدنا آباءنا على أمة وإنا على آثارهم مقتدون. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also here in this verse saying, we did not send before you any warner, any messenger to his people, unless those people, or the mutrafin, the rich ones, the leaders among this community, their communities, who rejected their message, who rejected their invitation by saying, we will not leave the way of our fathers and grandfathers to follow you. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam explain also this meaning when he comment on the verse about the people of the book who came before the Prophet ﷺ times, that they have taken their rabbis and their monks, their priests, gods beside Allah. Adi ibn Hatim said, Ya Rasulullah, ما كنا نعبدهم. We did not used to worship them. We don't prostrate ourselves before the monks and the priests and the scholars of our nation. Then the Prophet ﷺ asked Adi ibn Hatim by saying, then those scholars used to make, and this the Prophet ﷺ said, when the scholars used to make what is lawful forbidden and what is forbidden lawful, and they will be followed after that. Yani, the scholar will change the rules, will say for what was forbidden to be lawful, and what is lawful to be forbidden. And people will follow them. Those who follow them, in this case, actually worshipping them. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. Al-Hadith in At-Tirmidhi. So that's the way, that's what worshipping them means. اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم آلهة من دون أربابا من دون الله. They have taken their monks and their priests gods beside Allah, or instead of Allah. Also, this methods were taken by some people who view their imams, their leaders, and put them in a very high ranks, to the extent that they say that the imam can abrogate what comes in Quran and Sunnah. That the imam has the authority and the ability to say something contradicting what is in the Sunnah, and his opinion must be followed because he abrogated the Sunnah. They said that the imams take their opinions on their views straight from God, straight from God. Also other people, as you heard, saying that they receive they receive their information straight from Allah or from God. They used to treat their sheikhs, their leaders, and they became like murids and followers to their sheikh, to the extent you will not see it in any other way than the way they used to treat monks and priests before Islam, in a way which is not according to the teaching of Jesus and Moses, peace be upon them and their followers. You know, for instance, one scholar said about the sheikh that how they view the sheikhs or the scholars or their imam. You cannot even object to what he or she, that sheikh, says in your heart. In your heart. And they said, if you don't have a sheikh, if you don't have a master, it means your sheikh is the shaitan. Without sheikh, you cannot survive. Without sheikh, you cannot complete your belief. It's not about learning. They don't say you need sheikh to teach you the religion. No. They said, if you don't have a sheikh to take everything from, you will not be able to make it. And they said, when you sit in front of that sheikh, if your master, you must sit the same way as you do of prayer. As you do of prayer. You see in a book of like Al-Ihya saying, you should be with your master as a dead person is with the one who washed him. He moves him as he pleased with no objection. Can you believe how they want you to be with that sheikh, just to accept anything he says, anything he will do? This is, and the result, basically whatever he says, it will go. And whatever he will say, you have to follow and to accept, even if it goes against some of this textual evidence that you know or you're aware of. Unfortunately, time is up. But some people even had the same view to some of the Muslim scholars, some imams, great scholars in the history of Islam who came. Some of their followers, especially those who came late, look at them in a way not proper, to the extent that some of them said, if our imam in our madhab said something contradicting what in the Quran and Sunnah, what he said is right. Either because there is another verse or hadith abrogated that text which contradicts our imam's opinions, or the hadith is weak, or maybe he has some information that we don't know, so in this case, follow the imam and leave the evidence. This is not the way to treat the textual evidence. This is not the way to deal with the textual evidence. Not the way of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, not the way that Allah and His Messenger wants us to behave and to treat the Quran and the Sunnah. With this, I will leave you until inshallah, and I will see you in the next episode.